Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Friday. We'll get started here shortly. Um, so just give us a few minutes and we'll get started here. Going to go over several things. Not several. We'll keep it pretty light. It's Friday, right? SPY, Tesla, Costco, BAC, GS, and maybe a few other things here. Perhaps like QQQ or something like that. Just to get familiar with my screen, we'll go over that as well. And so let's go ahead and get started. So if I do any scans, I'll change this right here on my watch list. They are basically set up to find my edges, my buy and sell signals, and all that good stuff. But right now, I just have it on my favorite. Okay, so we have this here. And then, far as the setup in the middle, this is my trading view. I operate from Thinkorswim, just like I was telling you guys yesterday. I always have the live Navarre Beach surf cam on. I live here in Florida. This is the nearest camera I like to see, what the beach looks like because we're all about the beach trade. And it's been pretty crazy over the last several weeks. It's always, actually, for almost 2 months, it's been windy, it's been choppy. And today we're supposed to have some really nice weather, so I'm excited about that. It looks like we might have some rollers in here too, so may have to grab the surfboard and go surfing a little bit later. You can't really see them from here, but they're probably ranging anywhere between 3 and 4.5 foot or so. Fun for a longboard, right? I always like to look at the flag. So if we look very closely, there is a red flag today, which is interesting. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe the undertow is bad. Anyways, let's get started over here. And we are going to go over some of these plays that I gave you guys over the week. They worked out very well. One thing I'll tell you right away is that I changed the blueprint on the SPY chart, so now it's a little bit bigger. We hit the downside. We went long there on the SPX, and we were able to do very well. To the upside there, and then now we have a new blueprint. I'll go over that, and then over here on Costco, you can see here as well that the zone that I gave you, we moved up into that zone. And we actually, instead of having a big move, if you guys recall, I brought this up. I said that the market makers were looking for a bigger move. And I said that Costco, according to Trendy methodology and using my levels, was really showing us a tighter range. So to me, it looks like people probably got burnt if they went long either on the call side or the put side here, as premium will erode here as we open up. I'll go over these plays for today. I'll go over SPY, Costco, even Nvidia. I wanted you to see the power of the trending methodology using supply and demand, using Fibonacci and so forth. And you can see after earnings, we pushed out of that box, and it looks like we are moving up to my final target here. All right, and we'll talk about how to play those. But before we get started, we have to go to the ES futures. This is the chart that I went over with everybody, and we went over this just a couple days ago. I think it's important to note, and I will always say this, is that the difference between me and I would say 99% of services out there is that we are providing a key setup before the action takes place. So we are able to read the market and understand an if this then that scenario. And again, using supply and demand and so forth. And I want to go over the ES futures. So remember, guys, it's roughly about every 10 points you're looking for a dollar in the SPY. So you could still use the ES futures for any of your trading with the SPY and the SPX. Just understand the ratios are different. So on SPX, it's usually plus or minus about 5 points or so. You need to check that when the market opens. Over here on the right hand side, as I always say, we have again, one of the only services that I'm aware of where my trades are linked directly to my API and then to the room for transparency. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor. What I want to show you though is what I teach you. I actually do what I say. So as soon as I take a trade, that will show up in 3 of my channels. I have a spreads channel, then I have my small account, which is my cash account. And then I have my larger account, which is my margin account, and that's called swing in the room. Now, what you're looking at over here, Trendy Trading, we've been around for, I say, 5 or 6 years now. And it's only been me, like far as like moderating, teaching, trading futures, options, equity, all that good stuff, right? So instead of having other people, I have created bots. And basically, these bots read my scripts and then send out trendy signals. So these are my pals over here on the right hand side. They are looking at the market. They are created again using my scripts, and then they're firing off signals. I don't necessarily take all of these, but I do use them when I do take a trade either in the futures or SPX and so forth. Today, what you're looking at up here in the right hand corner, this is oil futures, ES futures, NASDAQ futures. All of that is triggering here and letting me know, if I wanted to take this trade, I would get in at this price and my stop would be here. Okay. Down here in the lower right hand corner, this is the SPX bot. Again, going off of my signals. This is also going to give me an entry or a stop, and that's explained more here at Trendy Trading, how I trade these specifically. All right, folks, so as we open up here, you're now familiar with my screen, and of course this is me, and I appreciate you. And in the background here, my wife always gives me a hard time because she's like, babe, just make it a little bit tighter so people can't see me like in the kitchen or whatever. And I'm like, you know what, I'm all about transparency. So you get to see my dogs that walk back there, my kids, my wife. We're just normal. We're just coming in here and we're trading. We're just like anybody else, and I want you to be able to see a little bit of me and what I'm all about. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So ES futures, here we are. This was the blueprint that I gave to our members several days ago, and I want to go over this with you. Again, it's not hindsight. All this was here before price actually happened. Okay, but before we get started, I want to give you some key numbers for today. They're very important. All right, so let's go ahead and write those down. Every morning I give a trendy update. I use the ES futures. This is going to be very simple this morning. The charts don't lie. Look at the results. Today it's all about following the levels. 4030 is my support, and 4100 for me is a target that a lot of people are looking for a Friday pin. Now it's interesting, right? Because it happens to be up here towards the back end of a 4-hour inside and down formation. So what I would expect here is a pop into the open and potentially a rejection around 4097 to 4100, and then we pull back. And what you really want to see is that we can build value above here before we can head further to the upside, and I'll go over that here in a minute. So this week, this is how the blueprint looked. Okay, let's turn off this VRVP so it's a little bit cleaner. And I don't have any of my scripts on here at the moment. I just want this to be nice and clean so you can read this with me. You can see that price from the inside and up, and we found this on a weekly chart. Price came right into that inside and up and pushed out of here as we expected. Price then slowly pushed up into a Fibonacci. I want to say this was around the 0.382 or maybe the 50 of the overall move here. Okay, and so we're measuring that. We hit the gap fill plus the Monday high. That's what we were going for. We knew that this was going to be resistance. And the whole idea of yesterday was, and the day before was, can we build value, and can the Monday high then become support? It was resistance, and now you could see here that it is support. All right, so we're supported here at the Monday high, and then we found this level here that is creating an inside and down. And notice when we hit it yesterday, and again, I have not touched this, folks, for several days. As soon as we hit it here, we pull back, and that's what we expected. But if you notice the pullback, I guarantee you, happened within 25% of the move, meaning this move here. That's a very bullish sign. So we wake up this morning, we've gapped up. It was a little red last night for a little bit, but we've gapped up and we're pushing into this zone. Now, how do you trade a zone? How do we stay long in a zone? A lot of traders get smoked because they wait too much. They wait until we get in here, they start to go short, and then it goes against them. The way that I like to look at this is, as long as the entry to my zone holds, which is going to be 40.63 and 3/4 holds, then we continue up towards my next target of 40.97, as I was saying earlier. Okay. Now you could go back and you could study a lot of this, but it's pretty straight simple. Okay. And I like to teach, again, if we go to a higher time frame, This is the weekly. Okay, and let me take some of this off so it's a little bit cleaner for you. Okay, this is the weekly. We came into the inside and up. We found value there, but also from 2020, if we take some Fibonacci's and just measure from this pivot low where the rally started and we come up to the pivot high, guess what? We moved right off that 0.38, and that's so important. Once you find that level, you understand that we could get a really good bounce out of that. But before we move forward and we start to feel better about things, we want to check the skew. Where are we on the skew? Well, the skew was telling me, again, if you don't know what the skew is, please go to Google it, and it's going to tell you basically these are your hedge funds. Okay? And without going into too much detail, it's basically telling me, because I've already had these levels annotated according to how I feel about the skew, is that we were at an extreme level where you could have risk on. Obviously, right? We've been moving pretty well since we came down into this level. Now, please understand, just because we hit the risk on doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to happen that day or the next day. This is a bigger picture. But for me, at Trendy Trading, a lot of things have to marry up. They have to synergistically come together. So we know that the ES futures came into demand, the NASDAQ came into demand, many things came into demand. The skew came into a risk-on environment. Then we come over to the dollar. The almighty dollar. Now, this was from a monthly picture. And I just want to show you this. This was an inside and up and inside and down. Notice how the dollar blew through here. Now, the way that we approach this here at Trendy Trading is I had this one little annotation here. Bids above here, you need to stay cautious. As soon as the dollar started to drop back below this 102, 103.8, then things started to change. Notice that the skew was there. Notice that everything I showed you was lining up, and now the dollar started to pull back a little bit. That starts to get the hairs on my arms start to stand up, and I start to think to myself, I think we could be coming into a bounce. Let's go ahead and go over to TNX. This is your 10-year treasury. Same thing, folks. I found this on, I want to say, the quarterly chart. Let me just make sure. Nope. Let's go to the week. We look over to the left. Yeah, this was a monthly chart for me. All right, and this is what it looked like. All right, same thing here, folks. Just like the dollar, just like any equity chart that I'd be looking at, we're looking for the 10-year treasury to push up into this level and then start to fade. We don't want to necessarily immediately think that it's going to fade just because it hits a red box or it hits a supply zone. What you want to do is sit and wait. You want to wait for something that tells you, hey, guess what? Things are starting to pull back a little bit. Tech can now run, according to the TNX. So now, folks, I've shown you the dollar, the TNX, the skew, the ES futures. Look how it's all starting to line up. You start to feel a little bit better about going to the long side. But guess what? Just because you have some sort of thesis and everything is lining up doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to work out for you. So you have to have some sort of process where you come into the morning. All right, and I'm about to show you that really quick. We've done this for the last 2 days, and I'm making a promise to myself that I really want to be there to help traders, not only here in the room, but everywhere, because people are having such a difficult time right now. Now, I'm not going to go into all the different details, but if you have any questions, please reach out to me, whether it be on Twitter, YouTube. I think, everything's out there for you to contact me, okay? And you will be talking to me if you reach out, okay? Let's go over some of these names really quick. So the TNX, just so you know, what I'm looking for, as long as we stay between 2.6 and 2.8, then guess what? I think tech and the rest of the market can continue to push up, all right? Let's go over here to the SPY. All right, folks, so this is my new chart. If you remember, our chart worked very well, but I wanted to change things up a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and turn on some of the scripts that we have. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the cloud there. You can see that, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the edges. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. And I want to show you a couple things. I started to get a buy signal on the 4-hour. That buy signal so far is working very well. There's a couple things to take into consideration here on the SPY is the divergence between the cloud and current price. We look a bit extended here. Okay, and I think all of you guys can see that. Again, the extension, what I'm talking about, is going to be from the bottom of the cloud to the current price. And if we just go back and we read, right, and look at patterns in the market, we can learn a lot. And you could say from here to here is pretty big compared to here. All right, and if we keep going back, you'll see that anytime we've poked over the 4-hour cloud, it's got shorter longevity, right? The longevity of the move over comes right back, but it's starting to look pretty good. So this would be outsized compared to the rest of them, see? So that is a plus. That means maybe bears were a little bit exhausted down here as they weren't getting the flush that they were looking for. Matter of fact, price just continued to move up for them, okay, for the bulls. So the bears had a hard time, and now they're starting to give up a little bit. Well, the cool thing is I have signals, I have edges, and I kind of understand where price is going to move to before it actually happens. Notice this resistance level. I gave this out there on Twitter, I'm pretty sure, yesterday. And you can see that price has moved up here and it is resistance. It's not rocket science. If we look left, we had a little bit of a gap according to the chart. What I see on the chart is what I'm trading. Okay. Up here as well, we have another gap. So if price holds above this 408 level, I apologize, 408.26, okay, right here at my resistance, and it happens to be, let's see, let's just make sure it's right around 408.24. So if we can hold above there and we have our buy signal coming in, I want to see resistance turn into support. And my next line is going to be obviously right over here. If we turn on the magnet, this might help. I want to go right underneath that candle there. Okay, so 410.88 is what we're looking for next. And then over that, I'm looking for 415. All right, so those are my targets to the upside. That is SPY. Let's go ahead and talk about, before I move on, I apologize. I'm going to look at a 5-minute chart when we open up, just like we did yesterday. I'm going to coach through that so you guys can see. I'm going to use my pre-market zone. We're going to look at the risk and all that fun stuff, okay? All right, just make sure all the right stuff is on. We're going to come over here to Costco. All right, showed you this a little bit earlier. This, when you're looking at this, if you don't understand it, basically what we're doing is we can use these levels as iron condors. We can use them as debit condors. But this is where I expected Costco to go, either to the downside or upside. You'd be pretty surprised if you bought the debit spread that looked for this zone here, it would have paid for this zone down here. All right, so depending on how you like to trade these, I love debit spreads into earnings because our levels work so well that when they hit, it really pays off and it makes you feel really good about those levels. Now, how does Costco react today? Let's go ahead and look here. It's only down $6. I mean, seriously. To me, if you look at the run, this is just an average move. I guarantee you that most likely this dip here probably moved into what? The 0.382, maybe the 50. Let's go ahead and measure that just really quick. We're going to take the fib. We're going to start from the rally itself, come up to the pivot high, and boom. You can see that the wick came into around the 0.382, which is very bullish, folks. Buyers stepped in, and guess what? Here we are. So how would I want to approach Costco today? Just watch for it. See if it can break over 462.50. 462.50, and then we could see it run up into 464 and possibly 469. If we cannot get above that level, we can expect Costco to be range bound today. Okay, just kind of burning premium if you're trying to catch some sort of trend. If it starts to break down below my lower edge here around 452.16, we could see price come back to yesterday's low after market around 446. That's what we're looking for on Costco. Let's go ahead and look at Nvidia. All right, folks, so I gave you these levels too. And again, once again, that famous saying, I can't make this up. I showed you how I got these levels 3 sessions ago. Please go back and watch that on YouTube so you can figure that out. And if you have questions, please reach out to me. So notice that even on earnings, we pull back into the zone. The zone buyer showed up. There's a lot behind this, and maybe you don't understand it, but the reason why is we're basically trying to follow where institutions are buying and selling, and they leave a big footprint in the market on the charts. Buyers stepped in, prices pushed up, And my last target here, we're almost there. So congratulations buying here in the zone and looking to at least trim around here. I mean, you're very close to the target. Why wouldn't you be trimming? Right? Don't be too greedy. The way that I would approach this today is if the 178.37 level can hold, look for it to continue upwards around 183.37. And if we get in the zone, look for that 183.37 to hold. Okay, so again, let me go ahead and draw that for you. If we push up over 183.37, this then becomes, and look to see if it can create support going into next week. If it can create support going into next week, meaning today's close, Friday, you can see a move or a gap up towards 193. Please note that next week is a shorter week. There's only 4 days. Okay, and you can see here, all right, today is the 27th. We come back on the 31st, which is going to be Tuesday. Monday is a holiday. Okay. All right, so Costco's done exactly what we wanted it to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at Tesla. Yeah, how much time do we have? 10 more minutes. All right, check out Tesla. I gave this chart as well yesterday. Now, you might not think it's that cool, but it is that cool, right? Because we had a zone at the bottom, and you wait for the zone. You wait for the reclaim, then you take the trade. To the upside, you could see we hit our target. So if I were to put this on play for you, you could watch this. What happened yesterday is on open, we dipped into the zone, okay? We then pushed out. We reclaimed, looked to take the trade. We then built over the PMZ, the pre-market zone. We then look for it to hold. It holds, and then the rest is history. We move up into target. One thing I want you to note is that when we pushed up into target, notice the resistance, okay? The levels work very, very well. So the target that I gave you, price did come up. We tapped it, and I can see that a lot of you did the right thing. You trimmed at least. Notice that price came in, it held that level, and then once we reclaimed, we're going for the back of the box. As long as this level holds, we're going for the back of the box. Let's boom, back of the box to the tick, back of the box, here we are. All targets have been hit. The way that you want to approach this today on Tesla, I want you to take that high. I want you to understand that pre-market high, that is a level for you. All right, very important to understand what's going on here. We're getting back in the zone. This is kind of, you want to hold off. Just be patient. You want to know whether or not they're going to digest this move. You don't want to speculate and just waste money. We need to see that value starts building above that high today. Okay, so if I were to take a really good guess here, I'm going to, let's take this zone off really quick. And I want to look at the overall range of Tesla. I'm going to go ahead and measure from this pivot into this pivot. I want to find the 0.23. Notice how strong that 0.23 is. Very, very important. But that's a little too far. Like if it comes down to this level, sure, you can try to buy around 709 to 707, which is the line in the sand. But I don't want to measure that much. Okay, if this guy wants to go, then we need to measure a really good value area, which is going to be right here into the pivot high. And I'm going to go ahead and give you an intraday zone. All right, and the way that that's going to look is we want to use the 618 in this case. It's going to be a little wide and all the way up to the 23.6, which is where we just came into. All right, but I love doing this so that I could show you guys later the value of using this type of methodology going into the day. All right, now we use the PMZ, the pre-market zone. We make it pretty simple. It tells you what the risk is once we go bid over there. If the banner up here is bullish, then we're looking to go long. Okay, if it's bearish, then you might want to slow your allocation, those type of things. But the idea here is that we have a process that's really easy to follow. All right, so again, that's Tesla. All right, and let me just make sure that I go over everything I said I was going to go over. Give me 1 second. There we go. Yep, let's go over GS. Thank you. Oh, resistance, look how we popped up there. The reason why, folks, is because the trendy edge is there. All right, I want to take you to a bigger time frame, just like this. All right, each edge is different for anybody that may be new that's watching us. Each edge is different. It's for different traders. We have for swing traders, intraday traders. They're all different time frames, and you can see here they work very well. So we came into the edge, we went bid, buyers came in, they stepped up. Notice that we stopped up here. The reason why we stopped up here is because that edge is finding previous supply, and that's where we are. Okay, so current price, it looks like it's just under 325. We need to see value above 326.10, folks. 326.10. Okay. Yep. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Yeah, and hopefully, Jordan, you're still holding that BAC. Anybody that's in here that's still holding that BAC, congratulations. It's looking pretty good. We'll go over that as well. But again, value needs above the trendy edge, folks. This is really quick. ACDC. For my members, you know what that means. ACDC equals ME. And so your bigger target right here is 342. Our targets for GS going forward over that edge, we're looking for 331 by 330, or sorry, 331 by 342. I have a spread on this with some time. Okay. All right, let's go over to BAC. This was a trade that I alerted, I think Monday or Tuesday. Let's go over here. Same thing. This is what it's looking like. The pre-market, it's over yesterday's high, which is a good thing. Your support for today, folks, 36.59. Looking for a move. This is not quite an ACDC yet, but you want to be aiming towards 37.77. 37.77 as long as 36.59 holds. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's go over, we got Nvidia, I don't need to go over SPX, we have our little bot over here that does my work for me. Let me see if there's anything of interest over here that I want to continue looking at. Oil futures, just kind of volatile around that 114 area, not much to see. Let's look at BABA. I was looking for a continuation. BABA, man, what a move, right? So we held some BABA into earnings. It's pretty impressive. That move. Good morning, Mike. This is what they're looking like. All right. So unfortunately, they pulled back a little bit, but that was expected. Look, this is the first time in a long time that they've been over the cloud, kind of like the ES futures. Look how they pushed up, came right back in, and finally we pushed up here over the cloud. What you want to see today is value start to increase over 94.50 for volume to come in. It's almost down $1 after yesterday's move. This is a digestion period. I want to see price stay above 92. All right, 92 for the longer term. What we're aiming for right now is 99, okay, 104, and 114.75, as long as the bigger value down here at 86 holds. Okay, that's long term. Short term, again, you want to see around 92, 93 hold today. All right. All right, other than that, I think that's enough information. We're about to get started here. We have 3 minutes. We're going to bring our charts over to SPY. All right, immediately, I want to tell you how I enter each morning. Looking at this chart, I got to take into consideration my edges. I want to look at my risk. This is probably the most important part here, is the risk. And then for our traders who are premium members here, they have access to the overall process itself. And what I'll tell you right now, Trendy members, is that we are in what is called a positive neutral. All right, a positive neutral, and I really like these. Positive neutrals are fun. You can see the risk is 62 cents. Basically, what I'm looking for is this PMZ that's being developed at the moment is, for price. You can see that we are locking in some supply overhead, which is going to be resistance. The line happens to be there, but I like these because you can set up OCO orders to go short or long, depending on which way we break here. All right. But first things first, again, we need to build value over this pre-market high. Okay. I don't know how easy it's going to be. The pullback is pretty small. There's not a lot of selling pressure here, but you definitely want to pay attention. Okay. So we know that an edge is here. Okay, we know that these are support, so let's go ahead and talk about that. 405.5 by 404.81 is your support. Your resistance right now is 408.24. All right, and we're looking for targets 410 and possibly 415. Not necessarily today, folks, but this is longer term up here, especially the 415. But there is a possibility for 410. All right, 410.88. So let's see if we can get it. Good luck, everybody. I really appreciate you coming out here and checking us out. Don't forget to stop by trendytrading.co, where we do have access to everything that you're seeing right now for only $5 for 7 days. All right. And if you have any questions, again, don't be shy. Make sure you reach out to us. A lot of talking. A lot of talking. All right, so we'll stay on here for a minute. We have 7 seconds before the bell. And the only thing here, members, that I would be looking at trimming or closing would be the spies that we took at the end of the day yesterday. Okay. And those are at 83%. And honestly, I'm going to put a stop in. And so you'll see that pop up if I get stopped out. It's kind of cool. We can actually show everybody here. I think I put that in the swing account. So watch right here if you guys want to see how fast my alerts are. As soon as I get stopped out, it'll pop up in here. And it'll say stop, and it'll give you the price and the percentage I lost or the percent gain that I have. Right now, the stop is holding so far. We're moving into the resistance. One thing that I want to show you guys, the PMZ is working on pullback, and the resistance is working as well. What I'm going to do is keep riding that stop up. Okay. All right, there we go. First test there. I'm going to also be looking at SPX, trying to pin a trade a little bit later on in the session. And currently, did we get stopped? Yeah, we got stopped right here. Just so everybody could see, I got stopped. 94%. We could continue here. This is a really nice push over resistance, but I just want to make sure I'm locking in some money. And so that's what I did right there. Okay. Let's see if we can come back and build a little bit of flag here. That's what I'd like to see. But again, the most important thing is that the PMZ, the Trendy indicator, is working here. I'm also long some futures. And I'm going to be bringing those up as well. Nice push. All right, Mara is at 15%. I'm going to put a stop on that. I was looking for Bitcoin to do something. Let me just make sure. Well, we have a swing on this. So we are at the money, or the 10 calls for next week. It's up a little bit. No biggie. All right, so PMZ, again, working very well over the resistance. Remember, what we want here, folks, is 408.24 to stay or become support, if you will. Okay. Some of the things are frozen out here. Not sure why. So I think we could, again, let's look at SPX. you can see right here, our bot took off. Let's go over that really quick. We already noticed, all right, the PMZ worked very well. You got a nice scalp out of here. Traders who took the trade yesterday and to close with me, those are looking well. As you can see, I got stopped out at 94%, but those are probably, a good 130% or something like that now. Let's go over here to SPX. I just want to follow the first buy signal of the day. Could be a bit much, right? Because you're getting a chaotic candle, and so you can see your risk is a lot. I don't like this. All right, and that's one of my disclaimers here is on the opening candle. If we get a chaotic candle like this, I'm not saying it can't work, but for me, it's always a double check if I like the risk here. That's a little much for me unless I'm using a spread. So that's something, that I'm not really into right there. And we'll see. See what happens. I just barely get a pullback here. I like to see the pullback. What you want to do is measure the gap into this pivot high, and we're going to run with Fibonacci's. Okay. Basically, your bulls are going to stay in charge right here. So if we get a dip into there, that's where I'd be looking at buying a spread for us to basically flag and then break out. Did we give, I think I gave levels for W day, Mike. This one like just crashed through both here. But let's see if it settles in here today. I was not interested in W day. I think I actually, what did I say? I just didn't like it. So, but man, if you pay the debits down here, if you play the debits, that paid very nicely. Yeah, the 410s are going at 140 now, folks. 140. W day, if we can get back over 155.83, could run towards 159 and 161.73. Let's get back over here to Nvidia. Folks, there's Costco on that pullback into the zone. That's what I was talking about. Look how it pulled right back in, and what was resistance became support. I gave you that trigger. Nvidia also coming into target here, and that buy signal off the SPY continues to move forward. Let's look at what is the SPX number right now. So I want you guys to understand the ratios really quick. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to move this Costco to ES futures. Okay. And then right here, I'm going to make this right hand side, I'm going to make that SPX. There we go. I want you to look at the different the numbers really quick. So SPX is at 4098 while the SPY is sitting at 4092, right? And the ES is at 4095. Okay. 4098. So only about 3 to 4 points on the SPX versus the ES. And the SPY, we're running right around there. So. Oh yeah, the SPY PMZ play was it, man. That's the thing, it's I find it easier for a lot of people to execute on the upside out of the PMZ, whereas like if it's the downside, you're looking at shorting the PMZ, which it's just harder. It's harder for people to do. So again, 410.88. All right, let's look at Tesla. We talked about that zone earlier on Tesla. Let's see how that's working out. Yeah, so right in the zone, folks. A nice push there. Once again, if you followed on Tesla's the blueprint, you listen to the words, you immediately out of 720 pushed into 738 here. And your overall target 754 as long as this 724 holds. So 754, 724 holds. It's about a 1-for-1 from there. If you took it from the zone, you're already making money though. And we could try to pin Tesla, but man, it gets crazy, doesn't it? I'd much rather do it on a pullback. So be like 755 is target. So maybe 750 by 760. Or 740 by 750, something like that. I want to see what these cost though. About $1.48. Probably get in for $1.60 and pays about 6 to 7x. I'd rather wait for a pullback though. Yeah, we can look at Apple, no problem. And we want to figure out, where did Apple come into? It came into our zone. It worked as well. On Apple's push, look for it to push up towards this 147.79, and then right here at 149.36. Again, buy zone into the cloud. Kind of the same thing that we're seeing across the board. Let's look at this BAC really quick. See if we get anything out of this. I guess they're not going to pull Amazon back to 2000, huh? Just keep it there. It's kind of what I wanted. I'm going to put BAC on the signals, guys. So let me go ahead and do that really quick. And let's see, what do we got? 5 minutes here. Yep, create. And we'll see if they can break over the PMZ. And I have a butterfly in for Tesla if it pulls back, but that butterfly are the numbers that I gave you, but I'm not sure that's going to work. It'd have been a better entry at the zone here. If it comes back towards this area, I'll get filled. Alright guys, so as we approach 410.88 on the SPY, that's the upper left hand corner. This is just basically different charts I'm looking at. Look at Nvidia, came into target and is kind of pulling back. Costco had that nice little push, and then it's SPX down here in the lower right hand corner. So my point is, as we get close to targets, you want to be trimming, as I was saying in the morning session. You don't want to be too greedy here, short term. If you're long term, it's a different story. We're looking for that 415 to 416. And matter of fact, I want to be looking for SPY maybe into next week, even though it's a short week. Let's see, let's check the dates really quick. Friday is going to be the 3rd. So, yeah. What do we open up on Tuesday? Let's see, what day is that? 31st. On this pullback, potentially into resistance, I might buy the butterfly at 410, 15, and 20. Just want to look at the pricing here. I could layer into this as well. Those are about $1.14. See if we can get that. There we go. All right, so almost up to target here. 410.88. Nvidia, I really don't need on there anymore. Let's look at this Tesla. I don't know if I'm going to get that pullback that I wanted. We need a little bit smaller time frame too. And this is SPX down in the lower right hand corner. Let's go ahead and just go with a 5-minute there. Okay. So the SPX is making some money. Alright, let's see how we react off of that target there. Almost there. Ooh, I need some more coffee. I mean, of course, bulls would like to see my target taken out, and then a push up towards. It'd be amazing to see 415, 416. This would probably be more like 900%. Yeah, it looks like Tesla's going to hit that 754, folks. Timing is a variable. I'm not saying it's going to hit right now, but I just got another buy signal on it as well. Just popped up on my charts here. Yeah, it looks like we touched the target there. And this was what I got in the middle here. Oh, that's right. ES futures. That's where I wanted to look. Costco looks like it could hit 485 today, folks. 485. All right, there's that touch. I'll open that up so you can see it. Okay, we'll see how we react off of that. If you guys are holding some of those spies, be looking at trimming right into there. There it is. All right, ES futures up 54. Bitcoin still just chilling. Something's up. You know, it's been quiet, just been flat, not doing anything. Advancers at 2,500. It's a buy the dip scenario with advancers. Apple up 3. A lot of things looking pretty good. Some big moves in some of these names. Amazon, 283 up from current. BAC at 37. And GS doing pretty well also. And I want you to see how the overall market also reacts off of the SPY ES targets that I give you. So you notice we come into the 410.88, we pull back a little bit. Notice down here on Tesla, we pull back a little bit. Over here on the right hand side, this is SPX. The Costco also just a slight pullback, not much, but I think Costco actually went green. Yeah, up 9 now. Okay, there we go. Our break into. We also have butterflies. I'm targeting up here towards this 416. trim some butterflies if we can get into the 415 area. Yeah, let's go over here to TTWO. I just entered this. You can see that over here. To a larger time frame. This is a ACDC. Well, it's a prequel. Let's see if China names can start with a little bit of power. Guys, we just hit our daily target on Mara. And that's at about 34% now. Up to you what you want to do. Let's take a look at it really quick. Yeah, hitting that. We're hitting that edge from underneath. I mean, the big thing will be whether or not we can get over the edge. So I'm going to create an alert here. I'll let you guys know if we're over. And let's see. Let's go into our small. Okay. Looks good. And you can see how the reaction there on Mara into the trendy edge, folks. So it's going to be resistance, and that's why I had an alert there to let you know to trim if you wanted to. These are going to be resistance until proven otherwise. And if you look over Here we have a topping wick. The idea though is if we can hold basically right in here, then we should see a nice push up. Let's just measure a couple things really quick. Yeah. So we want to hold between the future edge, which is going to be right here, and to here. And I'll come back and look at it a little bit later. I also have an alert if we break over the edge, then I think we could see up towards 1066. Overall target though would be 11. Okay. Nice push here, 58 points. Very nice push, actually. On TTWO, I'm going to be trimming pretty quickly as I got a couple in here, so I just want to be making some money. Let's see, what do we get in at? It says right here. Let's go on swing side 360. Probably like in, if we can, if it'll get going, 50 cent increments. Another 60 points here. I wonder if we're going to see the old 65 to 100 today. DE looked really good there, underdog. Up 9.5 today, man. Very nice. All right, well, I'm going to grab a little bit of coffee and kind of let these do their thing for a few. Let's see if we can get Mara over this. I'm going to come in right here. Goodness gracious. Any of you guys hold some of those 410s? Oh, cry me a river. It's time for some Justin Timberlake. As underdog would say, pissed at profits. Those are sitting at 240, guys. 240. You're almost you're you're like 500% on those. Goodness gracious. Buy signal there on Costco. Possible 487. Flag on Tesla. Let me see what the Tesla butterfly looks like. Still very expensive. I try to get in around 90 cents. It's at almost 2 now. So I don't think I'll be getting filled unless we get a bigger pullback here. Like really went up in value. SHOP out of the PMZ. Your risk is $1.89 from current price here. Goodness gracious. Moves so fast. I was trying to get it out there, the PMZ there. No luck. No luck. Oh wait, that's a. So really, the only thing I have on right now are spreads. I mean, my bigger trades. Maybe because we're getting up here towards resistance. So you just want to be careful. Matter of fact, as we get towards resistance, you want to maybe be looking at selling credit spreads. All right, guys. So nice little flag here on Tesla. Possible move, like I was saying, up to the 754. I think is the level we were looking for, and then we hit our 410.88. Again, those SPY calls, you still holding those. Those are close to 500%, I believe. Costco looks like it wants to move up into 485. It might be a good idea if things start to settle and the premiums erode to try some lottos up into these targets I'm talking about if we get that pullback. Also on your SPX bot, notice that we've had 3 buys in a row. Going back to this morning, I think it's important again to see the value, right, of everything that's being displayed here. If we go over to SPX, let's just check it out. You had a buy signal come in. You had several buy signals, and those stops were not stopped. So you're making money. Possible target here, if things get ridiculous, are 41.77. Just so you know, a trending day would stay above the cloud. You can believe it, maybe you don't believe it. As long as we're holding above this cloud, make sure you're writing the trend, folks. Okay, very, very important. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up in about 15 minutes, but I want to go over a couple things with you that just are so important about your pre-market decisions, how you want to take things, how you want to manage, and so forth. Everyone's going to be different. As we always say, we all have different emotions and personalities when it comes to trading, and we all view our risks different. So there's not really one size fits all for everyone. So please note that. But one thing that I have developed here at Trendy was the ability to give you something that's visual. And I think that's so important because a lot of people, they're able to talk and they show a lot of high insight, but they're not able to see and show like actual levels that work that give you a little bit more confidence in taking the trade. Opening up this morning on the SPY, we went over it. We had a nice little move up overnight. We had a resistance level, but we also had the pre-market zone. That pre-market zone came up. This is what we call a positive neutral, folks. Positive neutral. That means you trade whatever side it breaks to, and you can see we broke, we found support, and then we started to get buy signals throughout this position itself. Notice that I put a trailing stop in here. I got stopped. It continues to move up. Again, some of you guys may have different risk tolerance, but overall, just like yesterday, going into the pre-market zone, this was the best trade of the day, and we talked you through this as well, going all the way up into the trendy edge, and then over here we continue to move, and we're starting to get some more buy signals. Now, again, that 410.88 was the first target. My next target is 415. The biggest thing going forward before I jump off is that you need to pick the time frame that you're comfortable with. And yesterday I gave you a little bit of insight on how to use this cloud and these levels to create what your risk may be. All right, so like for example, I'll just show you this on a 5 minute. If I were using this as my risk tolerance, and I said, hey, as long as price is staying above the cloud, you can figure out the math on your delta of your option or even just your equity on how much you could lose from the profits you're already in. So, for example, we're trading at 411.76. The cloud is down here at 410.84. That's about $1. If you had delta 30s for next week, if we were to pull back, you'd lose plus or minus $35 to $40 on that option because I'm taking into consideration Monday is a holiday. So that is how you can, pick whether or not you want to use that cloud. If you wanted less risk, then you would just use a 3 minute, a 2 minute, and so forth. If you're a little bit, you're swinging things, that's a different story. Then you want to go over to a 4 hour, and you could say, even though this is crazy extended, you could say, hey, I'm going to stay in this trade as long as we stay above the cloud there. But you could see that's 411 all the way to 403. Probably not my favorite risk. Tolerance there. So on this one, we could use the bottom of the edge, 405. And if we go into a weekly, we could say, hey, the weekly definitely looks like it wants to touch the cloud today or maybe into Tuesday. And I have a butterfly structured around this to see if we can get into this level by next Monday. All right. So that is SPY. Let's go over here to Tesla really quick. Just go over the names that we talked about this morning. Tesla, I gave you this level. And once again, I feel like I'm just, throwing out some amazing levels for you guys. I asked you to wait for the zone. This is an intraday trade. We reclaimed that. We went through the PMZ, and you can see that price is now from 724 into 745. My target is 754. I would imagine that we kind of calm down around here, unless let's say by the time we get up here, that the the SPY is trading at like 412 and a half, 413. There is some room for Tesla to continue to move upwards there. Okay. And let's go over here and we'll look at the Spies and Queues. This was your neutral strategy going into this week, folks. If you follow this strategy, you are absolutely crushing it. You go long over the green into targets and you trim, and now you'd be riding those. And as you can see, that target up here for me is the trendy edge at 416.48. And then over here on the Qs, we are looking for 310.02 now. So very nice, very nice. And I think that if you're trying to pin things today, you might want to be careful because this thing has some power right now. And we'll see what's going to happen. But they've been pinning very odd numbers. That's one thing I have noticed. All right. Again, that's SPY in the Qs. Let's go over here. That's Tesla. Let me go into Costco. All right. So Costco pulling back just a tad here. You can see that back into the cloud. I'm not trading Costco. I did trade a debit spread, and it was up 50% before close. I left it on for what we consider a lotto into earnings. It didn't quite move enough, so that's not going to work out. So that did not work. Besides Costco, let's go over to Nvidia. Let's check out those zones that I gave you. And it looks like, didn't I take off? There we go. I took out the zone, but here, this is what it looked like before. It's just between these two levels. So basically, we're holding above, like I was telling you guys, 183. And you just try to ride this as long as you can. But another display of the PMZ and the edge where bids came in, and this was a great trade to the upside. All right. Also put on a new trade just a few minutes ago, and you'd see that popping up here. I had Shopify. I also have the TTWO, and that's actually up quite a bit already. So I'll probably trim. I have quite a few contracts here, and you can see that come in right here at 3.6. I'm going to pull that up for you though, so you can see. All right, there's TTWO. Nice push. Give me 1 second here, actually. Where are we? Give me 1 second. All right, so TTWO, that's a weird one to say. But anyways, this is what we're looking at. This is my trade plan. I like to put these together, just kind of give you a visual. We are looking at support down here. I will move that up depending on how much we move. We're in the cloud, so I wouldn't expect too much today, but you could see a move towards 128.5. I will be trimming out pretty quickly. I'll be holding the position as a swing, but again, just looking to make a little bit of money on the day. All right. All right, so that's that. We have Goldman Sachs. Let's go over here and take a look at that. All right, nice little hammer. Nice continuation. This is exactly what we talked about. We wanted to go through the edge first. Then we want, now we want 324.5 by this 326 to hold. Matter of fact, I'm sorry. Let me, I'm going to use this edge here. And this is going to be, I'm going to call this support. There we go. Just like that, and I'm gonna update you guys in here. Oh, let me go over here. I want to see how my Mara is doing. It's up 50% now. For the small account, I only try to get, I know it sounds weird, you know, some people, they try to go for like 500%, 1000% gainers in small accounts. I just chip away, you know, 30 to 50% trades. Sometimes we get more. But currently we're sitting at 51% on MARA. Okay. And so I want to bring those stops up. And what are we trading at? 84 cents. These are kind of, you know, for a small guy, this one has some spreads on it for sure. You know, you think these would be a little bit tight. Oh, it's not bad. 84 by 87. But anyways, we're sitting at 54% on those. See, but it's 6 penny spreads here, which is kind of a big deal because if you lose like 5 pennies on the equity price, the underlining, these drop like another 10 cents. I'm not a big fan of that. So, yeah. All right. So we pretty much have summed things up. And I just want to tell you guys thank you again. We'll jump back in the room here and I'll go live in there. But I appreciate you coming out to YouTube and checking me out. If you have any questions, again, just reach out. Thank you. Have a great 3-day weekend. I know we'll be enjoying our time out on the water. The sun is out and things are looking good. If you're in the area, please reach out. Dex, I know you're out there, boss. We'll be connecting here soon. There's quite a few of you here, so we want to see if we can get together. I'll be sending out an email this morning and hopefully hear back from you guys. I really appreciate you. Hope you're having a good day. And again, I'm here if you need anything.